Welcome to the Filthy Badge series,
Police officers take an oath to protect and serve,
where we go precinct to precinct finding the dirtiest cops.
Deli joined the force in 2015, but tonight he's in jail charged with rape.
Some officers across the country are misusing that authority.
And now, the accused.
A San Antonio police officer was fired after body-worn camera footage showed her repeatedly punching a handcuffed pregnant woman and then dragging her out of the police cruiser by her hair and leaving her in the pouring down rain for 26 minutes. Mrs. Sparza was described as 5'1" and being 130 pounds. She was barefoot and 6 months pregnant, while Montoya attempted to search her for drugs in the 1200 block of St. Louis Street, just west of downtown. Esparza allegedly would not comply with many of Montoya's instructions during the search before the incident escalated. Footage from the body camera of Officer Joshua Vega, who was standing behind Montoya, shows Montoya reach into the vehicle and deliver a flurry of punches. Esparza screams and struggles. A former internal affairs investigator who handled Montoya's case, San Antonio Police Department Lieutenant Matthews Murray, testified that Montoya claimed she punched Esparza 4 times in the face, but the footage, however, showed Montoya punching Esparza 7 times in the head with a closed fist and once in her side. Montoya's attorney got Murray to concede that Montoya corrected her narrative after a review of the footage. Murray confirmed his investigation uncovered no allegations of untruthfulness by Montoya. The suspension paperwork states that Esparza was left on the ground in the rain for 26 minutes. Montoya can also be heard in the footage telling other officers that Esparza was faking her injuries and that she punched Esparza in the face because she could not punch Esparza in her side.
I was going to punch her in her side because that's what I normally do. She's fine. She's faking it. Hey, I punched you in the face a couple times. I'll do it again, too.
Attorneys for the city played a short clip of footage in which they described Montoya as smiling at an area hospital while the pregnant Esparza was being checked out by medical personnel just a few feet away. Montoya's attorney, Robert Leonard, peppered Murray with questions about why he never questioned some officers at the scene of the incident. Leonard also played several clips of footage that appeared to show other San Antonio police officers at the scene employing compliance techniques on Esparza. Leonard also pointed out that no other officers reported Montoya's action that night as possible misconduct. Esparza was charged with assault of a public servant, resisting arrest, and possession of a controlled substance. Penalty Group 3 is typically used to charge someone who illegally possesses prescription drugs with common medical use. While the drug possession charge was rejected at the time of Esparza's booking, she was held in jail on the resisting arrest and assault charges, as well as for outstanding warrants for a previous burglary case. All charges were later dismissed, court records showed, but not before Esparza spent 46 days in jail. Esparza's attorney was able to get her client released from jail prior to Esparza delivering the baby. Esparza eventually delivered a healthy baby girl, who turned 3 years old last year. Montoya's status remained fired from the San Antonio Police Department, but however, she was not charged with any crimes relating to this incident. She would later apply for and get a job for the Ellendorf Police Department, and the police department was facing a lot of backlash from the hire. Chief Marco Pena defended his hiring of Montoya, saying that she was an asset to his agency. And speaking of the Ellendorf Police Department, they again found the department under fire when a 42-year-old reserve officer / juvenile detention officer was arrested in uniform for repeatedly sexually assaulting his girlfriend's 13-year-old daughter. Ellendorf cop Jesus Gonzalez was charged with continuous sex abuse of a child. That's a first-degree felony. The mother of the girl contacted police after finding indecent pictures on her daughter's cell phone, discovering the young girl had been texting nude photos to her boyfriend from his request. After she reported the rape, her daughter confessed to San Antonio investigators the assaults had taken place more than 20 times between September until a week before Christmas. Besides being a reserve police officer for the Ellendorf Police Department, Gonzalez was also an entry-level juvenile detention officer at the Bexar County Juvenile Detention Center in San Antonio, which is just north of Elmendorf. However, he resigned from that job on December 12th after facing disciplinary attendance issues unrelated to the sex allegations. And he also resigned from the Elmendorf Police Department on the day of his arrest. The disgusting officer told the girl he wanted to marry her and he was in love with her. Most of the assaults took place at a residence at the San Antonio Medical Center, although one reportedly happened during vacation. But however, it is not clear how or why he had access to that residence. The two communicated through the Kik and the Instagram app. Gonzalez was suited up in his uniform and armed when the police confronted him and arrested him for molesting the girl. San Antonio police would not reveal where Gonzalez worked, but Elmendorf Police Department Marco Pena confirmed Gonzalez has been a reserved officer with the Elmendorf Police Department since October. During a presser, Chief Pena said this:
"Saddened and appalled, honestly. As the Chief of Police for Elmendorf Police Department, I'm really appalled. Went ahead and brought Mr. Gonzalez in and spoke to him in the conference room, and I advised him what the allegation was, and then soon thereafter he went ahead and resigned. So he was no longer with the police department, with Elmendorf Police Department or commission. Unfortunately, sometimes we don't know what individuals or what's in their minds and their hearts at that time. You know, we, as chiefs of police, other agencies, when we do this thorough background, we just don't know after the fact what happens to individuals."
Gonzalez worked for several departments over the past 18 years, including the Natalia and the Alamo Colleges police departments. He was fired from the latter in 2014 for failure to report to duty. The Texas Commission on Law Enforcement record shows Gonzalez completed training courses required by his department pertaining to rape and sexual abuse. Gonzalez was given a $75,000 bond at the Bexar County Jail, where he posted and he was released.
Jesus Gonzalez was a reserve police officer with the Elmendorf Police Department for just 2 months before he resigned on Tuesday. This after allegations surfaced that Gonzalez had an ongoing relationship with a 13-year-old girl. According to an affidavit, the mother of the 13-year-old victim had been going through photos on her cell phone when she found some of her daughter in provocative poses. When she confronted her daughter, the teen told her Gonzalez had asked for the photos and that the two had been having a sexual relationship since September. Chief Pena says they conducted a thorough background check when Gonzalez was hired in October and that they didn't have any issues with him while he was on the force.
More than 3 years after last wearing a San Antonio police uniform, Elizabeth Montoya appeared before an arbitrator Wednesday. Montoya's attorney argued that her firing from SAPD in early 2019 was unjustified, that Montoya acted within department rules and regulations when trying to get Kimberly Esparza to comply while searching her near downtown in July 2018. Body-worn camera footage played during the hearing shows Montoya claiming she repeatedly struck a 6 months pregnant Esparza after getting mule kicked in the leg.
Hey, I punched you in the face a couple times. I'll do it again, too.
A former internal affairs investigator testified Montoya claimed she hit Esparza 4 times, but that footage showed she actually punched Esparza 7 times, in the head with a closed fist and once in the side. Montoya was never criminally charged. Charges against Esparza related to the incident were later dismissed, but not before she spent 46 days in jail.